Looking forward to talking to you guys a little more about the new and really pretty easy to use workflow process service. It's going to be something that's easy for those technical folks to download, get started in just like 5 or 10 minutes, literally. And for someone that's interested in scaling out a process infrastructure across their organization, really something that is amazingly easy and flexible. Let's see it live.
What has today's business world shown us? We need agility to quickly adapt to new market landscapes. We need powerful tools delivering the full spectrum of automation in minutes. And we need cloud modern solutions to ensure security and cost savings. To meet this need, IBM is introducing the Workflow Process Service, a single container process engine, deployable per application, providing a small footprint and low total cost of ownership for automating all your business workflows. Are you ready to try free of charge the power of Workflow Process Service, available in 5 steps and just 10 minutes? When you're ready to try it yourself, a hiring sample workflow is deployed and immediately available in Workflow Process Service, where managers and HR can submit and match requisitions with candidates. Let's see it in action. Logging into Workplace, we take on the role of a hiring manager who needs to create a position request. Workflow Process Service includes a running workflow to get you started right away. The hiring manager can review their tasks, check their status and details, and then click to run the out-of-the-box sample user interface. Default data is filled in, and the hiring manager can adjust using standard controls. Tasks can have multiple pages to form intuitive wizards if needed. Once the hiring manager is done, they complete the task. Since we are logged in as the admin with all the roles, the next task for the human resources team appears as well. We can also look at a workflow list and see the overall status of a workflow and all of its tasks. Finally, it's easy to start new workflows using the Start Workflow button. Now let's switch to be a workflow designer and see how the tasks we just saw were created. Within the included Business Automation Studio, we see a list of workflow automations and the hiring sample we just executed. Let's open it and then open the process to see the diagram that the Workflow Process Service runs. We can see each task within the corresponding swim lanes, as well as events and system activities for a robust human and system orchestration engine. Diving one level deeper into the first task we completed in Workplace, we see the pages and can easily drag and drop to edit. Let's say that we want to make changes by moving the position data to the left side. Easy, just drag and drop. Note that this draft of the process does not include the bottom qualifications section, so we look for the view on the right and drag it in. Data is mapped automatically since there's already a position variable inside the workflow. Great, we have our workflow updates ready. Let's preview them right away. We see, indeed, the position data has moved to the left and the qualifications are at the bottom, ready to accept data. Now we know immediately through iterative playback that the workflow updates are ready to go. You just saw how an end user responded to tasks in Workplace with agility, and how a workflow designer opened and edited the powerful hiring sample and immediately ran the changes, all on the Cloud Modern Workflow Process Service. Continue exploring Workflow Process Service and all the additional capabilities available. And the best part is that you're able to get started free of charge with our trial version today. With Workflow Process Service, you only pay when the process goes to production, empowering you to explore, learn, scale, and grow for your business needs.
So I'm very excited to show you our new capabilities that we have around completion and management of work, that be around your end business users or your managers, to more effectively reach your outcomes. And as Bob had mentioned, it's not only intuitive or more intuitive, but also even fuse some more intelligence into there to help you do and achieve your overall goals from an organizational perspective. And let's get right into the demo, and I'll show you the new capabilities that we brought in this last release. So what we're looking at here is Workplace. It's the one place that you go to manage all of your work, if it be around your processes, your case, your end users. It's where you get your tasks and activities and how you can manage your work and the completion of that work. From that perspective, I can quickly see where I'm at, how many tasks I have, overdue, on track, at risk, depending on what I need to work on and how I can actually focus that down from there. I've got my workflows I can look at from both an instance view and a task view. So all the features that were there previously still there, and really allowing that great capability of intuitively managing the work that's there for you. If I look at it from a intelligent perspective, and this isn't something that's new, but came in a previous release, was around our intelligent task prioritization, which is using some machine learning models or artificial intelligence to help you more efficiently and effectively complete the work that's most important and that's best suited for your skills. So if I turn this on from a management perspective, and what you saw real quickly was it reprioritized my tasks for the user I'm logged in as an HR manager, and it's showing me that work that is best suited for me and aligned with the overall organizational outcomes. So I can go in there and say, okay, I don't have to spend my time trying to figure out what's the next thing I should be working on. It's giving me that prioritization for there, and I can just simply turn that on and off from that perspective there. And as you can see, it changes the prioritization and overrides that. The new feature that we have within Workplace, which is enhancing the ability to manage work, is now the ability to put in dashboards or custom dashboards within Workplace from a consistent and consolidated user experience. So I click on that dashboard. I have one here for HR that I can look at, and I can see the visibility of what's happening here. And that's one of the great new features we have. If I dive into it, and now it opens up Business Automation Insights, and I have the ability to go in there and edit these dashboards as I always could before. But from a Business Automation Insights, there's a few things that we added within this release around both improved customer experience to make things more intuitive and easy to use, as well as the drill down capabilities. So we're still all about no code, right? So that's always been the theme. That's always been our focus. So it's about having those business managers the ability to create these dashboards and these charts and widgets with no code. One of the improvements we've made from a intuitive perspective is we made it easier to understand where that data is coming from, so you're monitoring context. So in this case, I can see it's coming from my standard HR open new position process. I can also look at it and see what data I'm using within here for my drill down, and creating these drill downs is very easy. I have this group by, so for this particular pie chart that I've chosen here, I can just choose my department data. I can choose my location data that's coming from my processor case. I can look at my employment status. So this will actually be the levels of drill down. I start with department, I can drill down to location, I can drill down to employment status, and I can jump around within there. And I can do that in a matter of minutes quickly and easily. I can change my visualization. So if I don't like the overall pie chart, I can do a hierarchical pie chart. I can do donut, etc. And each one supports that drill down capability. And I simply click done, and now I have it. So if you look at how that actually uses, one, I can see that automatically that I have drill downs on this particular chart. From there, I can see that I've got my department level, finance and marketing. If I look at it from a finance perspective, I can dive down into that and say, wait a minute, I can see that all my locations are Chicago, so all my requests that are coming in for the finance department all happen to be in Chicago. If I wanted to understand more and drill down even further, I can click on it again, and it's going to show me what job positions are being hired for. In this case, it's contract positions. It could have been full-time employees, could have been part-time employees. In this case, we have all the requests that are coming in are for contractors across finance within Chicago, and we can go back up. And as you saw before, I can then choose to go down here. So there's a couple different ways you can interact with it. It's very quick, easy, and intuitive to give you that insight to really understand what's going on within your organization and really drive those desirable outcomes that you want and have from that perspective. So again, in quick summary, we saw within Business Automation Insights the drill down and that capabilities. If we go back to Workplace, and I just shut this down and go back here, we can see that we still have a way to manage our tasks, our workflows, and we still have the capabilities to manage our team performance, so we can allocate work, look at how my teams are performing from a per-person perspective and not just from an activity perspective, all that within Workplace. So I'm very excited about some of the changes that we've made. Those are just a few of the highlights of the more critical ones or more important ones, or the ones that we just wanted to highlight for you today. So thank you very much, and I hope you're as excited as I am about this.
So we've been doing a lot of work trying to make that whole process of classification and data extraction easier for you. So less reliant on templates and fingerprints, more so on AI. So what I'm going to show you is how easy it is now to capture some of that data off of your forms.
Why did we build automation document processing? What does it bring? Why is it something you should be looking at? Traditionally, when you had to build a capture solution, you had to do it a very manual process. Lots of rules, lots of fingerprints or templates you had to build, lots of learning, training that was required in order for you to be able to build a configuration or build an application for your capture needs. Automation document processing is now trying to change that a little bit and make it more of a guided approach or an AI-driven extraction. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you the two sides of automation document processing today. I'm going to show you the design part of it, but I'm also going to show you some runtime features as well. So what you have on the screen here is what I like to call the design side of it. This is where you're going to configure your capture solution, where you're going to define the different documents you want to capture, different document types. In this case here, we have bill of lading, mortgage agreements, purchase orders, utility bills, and so on. This is where you're going to define those classes and potentially set up some of the fields you want to extract, account numbers, date field, shipper names, consignees, whatever is appropriate. We're going to be working on purchase orders today. The second part is the classification. So you could look at this screen almost as a guided configuration. So you got steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Essentially, you just have to go through these 5 steps in order to build and deploy your capture solution. Very, very easy. There's no code required. Really just point and click and teach the system what you care about. So from a classification perspective, you upload documents to each one of the document classes. And once you've done that, you hit the train button. The train button then is going to look at the content of every document. It's going to run every document through several different algorithms to try to figure out what the best possible way to classify your documents is going to be and give you a high confidence classification. Once the training is done, you're going to get something like this. So you're going to get the highest scoring model. It's going to give you an accuracy value here. You can get more information by clicking the details. And here you see the next two lower scoring models, which we're going to ignore here because they're not high enough. We're going to focus on model 1. The system then gives you has some test documents here, and it's going to give you some feedback as to where maybe the potential issues might lie. So we see we have, in this case, some confusions on some of the documents between bill of lading and purchase orders. So it's very easy for an operator to say, okay, I'm at 92%. I'm going to see if I can get it a little bit higher, a little higher confidence for classification. They have the ability then now to see, well, the confusion comes from the bill of lading and the purchase orders. So then they can upload additional samples so the system can learn from more documents and improve its scoring ability. Once you're satisfied with the training, you can go back to the previous step. And again, you move on to step 3, which would be teaching the extraction. Let's go take a look at what that is like. Okay, so now that we're in the training interface, I see we've selected a doc type purchase orders. We're in the teach screen. You see a bunch of documents here. Some have been reviewed, some have not. Let's go take a look at some of those documents. This is where you're going to teach the system what is right and what is wrong. So in this case, you're going to see some mistakes, and that's okay. My job here is to say, I don't think this is right. You can see the system does have some questions about this. It says it's really a far value. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason it found this one is it normally is looking for a purchase order number. You see here, it's looking for a purchase order number. The system is smart enough to look around. Now, the problem here is purchase order is the title of this actual document. But in many documents, the words purchase order is followed by a number. So the system is saying, look, I found the key, the purchase order. Best I can do is find the Faro Resort, which in this case is really not accurate. So we're going to train the system to say, nope, that is not correct. Ignore that. But let's look at the other one. We've got a date, we've got an order number, we have the ship to, which is correct. We see that it picked up a table here, and you can certainly go and take a look at it. It looks good. We have sales tax. A couple of things I want to do here is it didn't find the subtotal, and it should have found it. So let's go ahead and add some of these fields. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the key, and then I'm going to grab the value. And I'm going to say, by the way, that was the subtotal. So very, very simple, just point and click. Click through the wizard and you're done. I can do the same thing for the total as well. If it misses a value, we are here to teach it. And as we teach the system, it continuously learns and improves over time. The last one here that I want is shipping. Now, this is not a field that we've defined. If I look at the fields that I have in my list right now, I don't have a shipping field available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new field called shipping cost, and I'm going to make this, I'm just going to make it a string for now just to keep things simple. And then let's go ahead and grab that and say, this is the key that I'm looking for. And again, it's learning that the shipping costs, one of the ways to capture shipping costs is look for a word called shipping or a variation of shipping. Once you find it, capture the value that's relevant for that field. So I click next. Is this a required value or not? No, I'm just going to leave it like that. Hit finish. And I'm done training this document. So I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to move to the next document here. Let's look at number 3. And again, you can review real quick. PO number. This one, the 2, the ship to. In this case, not really accurate, not terribly wrong. I see why you took it. We're going to remove it though. We have the PO date. We have the terms picked up. You'll notice here we have a couple things that happen. Tax rate is wrong. It's looking for the word tax. It doesn't know tax rate is something different. So in this case, it found tax, which is accurate, and it found a value. We have to teach it that it's incorrect. So I'm going to remove that. The last thing I want to do here is pick up the shipping cost. So we're going to define that field. But if you'll recall, we just created a field called shipping cost. So I'm going to grab that same field, and then I'm going to grab the key, and I'm going to grab the value. What am I doing here? This is now teaching the system that, hey, there's a different way of finding the shipping cost. If you find shipping and handling, that means the same thing. Go ahead and grab the relevant value for that field. In this case, it's shipping and handling, and grab the value next to it. So that's it. The operator that has to do this can be sometimes called a curator or a trainer. That person simply very quick to learn. They just have to go through each document and block in the keys and the values. Now, keep in mind, this is not zonal. The system is not creating a template for this. We're just teaching the relationships of the blocks. A block like this kind of goes with a block like that. Blocks like this go with a block below like that. So the system's starting to learn how to relate keys with values. It learns very quickly. So let's click Done. You can repeat the same thing for invoice or PO number 4. I wanted to stop here, and I want to show you what it looks like on the runtime. The runtime is where an operator will actually use the system to process documents. So in this case, had I finished training all the documents, I still have some that haven't been reviewed. I haven't done testing of the model or anything like that. What I would do is I would hit the train model. Now that's going to go and it's going to run what we call a deep learning. That's going to really dig in deep to the documents and understand the relationship of all the fields we've configured, and it's going to learn from those fields. Once that's done, the last thing I simply have to do is version and deploy. Once I've done that, I can use this application at runtime. Again, I didn't do any coding. I didn't have to do anything incredibly difficult. This can be learned by anyone very, very quickly. So let's take a pause here and go to the runtime side. Okay, so now we're on the runtime side of the project. So in this situation here, in this screen, what we're going to do is we're going to process some batches. So as an operator, I have the ability to go ahead and upload additional documents. In this case, I already have some documents opened, so we're going to go and work with the batch that I already have in there. Now you'll notice I have 2 queues here. I have a document page and page order issues, and I have a data extraction issues. I see that my batch here seems to be stuck in the document page and page order issues. Let's go take a look. That is essentially the workflow that it follows. If there's a classification issue, it's going to put it in here, and it's going to have me look at the batch, the documents individually, to try to figure out what's wrong with the document. So we see we have 3 documents that were classified as a purchase order, but the last one here, we couldn't get a confident classification. So I can, if I want to, I can go ahead and select a classification and tell the system this is a specific document type. But in this case, some random document slipped into the batch. We don't need it. We're going to go ahead and delete that document, and we're going to submit. What that's going to do now, it's going to review and make sure that there's no other document issues, and if everything goes well, it's going to move it into the data extraction issues. This is where you're going to resolve any issues the system has with some of the values, some of the fields. Now, it could be you're expecting a phone number, you didn't get a phone number, or you have a required field that is missing. In some cases, maybe you're going to see some date formats that are inaccurate. So we're going to take a look at some of those issues. We're going to correct them, and then we're going to submit the batch at the end to complete it. Okay, so we see here we can't submit until issues are fixed. We have 1 error, 0 warnings. Let's take a look at what we have. We do have a validation error here. The date is wrong. Now, the system's smart enough to know, hey, we're talking about May 25th, but the format that I'm expecting is a certain year, month, day. So what I'm going to do, very simply, I just click it, system reformats. So here we have the ship to block was taken. Now it's smart enough to realize, the phone number doesn't belong with the ship to. We're just going to leave it there. It picked up the terms. It picked up the ship via. It's got an order total. Everything looks pretty good. It even has the line items. You can take a look at the table here, and it picked up all of the line items correctly. So I think this document is good. Let's go ahead and hit done and next. We will open the next purchase order. Okay, this one's got a couple of different issues here. So we have, again, a validation error. You know how to correct that. We're going to do that real quick. We have a validation error here. Again, the system thought tax, it found the word tax, but we hadn't trained to say, hey, tax rate is not something that I want you to ignore that. In this case, it thinks it found the tax rate, but the nice thing is we are putting some sort of validation. In here, we're expecting a currency value, right? A tax amount should be currency. It's smart enough to say this is not looking like a currency. It flags it. However, one of the nice things about this is the AI has the ability to say, hey, I found some other potential correct selections or choices or values for this. So you see this one here is correct. It's the one I want. I'm just going to select it. I don't even have to rezone the correct value. The system can easily be corrected that way. If you want to see the table, you can absolutely show the table. At this point, I've corrected all the documents. I've made all the verifications and changes I need to make. I can go ahead and hit the submit button. That's it. This batch is complete. Now the documents are stored in FileNet in the correct document type. They're along with their correct metadata. You can apply retention policies to the content. Maybe you've got some workflow attached to it. So when these documents hit the repository or workflow gets launched, maybe you've got some robotics that is monitoring the file repository. And when these hit the repository, a bot picks these up and does something in the background. So that full integration with Cloud Pak is available. As soon as I hit the submit button, you can do all of those things.
And last, but certainly not least, is our rose here that is amongst all the thorns on the panel, Catherine. Catherine, you're going to talk about the fact that Cloud Pak is more integrated and that you can access and collaborate on your corporate content anywhere in the world. Can you break that down for us and tell us what that means?
Sure. Thank you, Bob. Content services in the Cloud Pak for Business Automation will help you deliver superior customer experiences by accelerating information management and governance processes. It also provides great benefits to your end users by really allowing them to find, activate, and work with content collaboratively to be more productive. I'll be highlighting a small subset of the capabilities from our latest release, which is really just a small sample of all the great features we have in content services. Content Navigator can be accessed directly from Microsoft Teams, which is really being widely adopted with our new way of working. It's not only convenient, but also boosts productivity for users so that they don't have to switch back and forth between applications to get the information they need. Navigator can now be easily added to a team channel as a tab. In here, we see an HR rep is able to go into a candidates folder and create a Word document from a template in Word Online. In the HR department, as you can imagine, they're frequently sending out offer letters, and it's super helpful to have a template to edit as opposed to starting from scratch each time. So here we see one user is going to be editing the template, but with our new integration with Office for the Web for content services on cloud, this allows you to collaborate simultaneously with teammates as the documents are going to be automatically saved in FileNet. So you can imagine working on like a really large PowerPoint deck where each teammate can work on different sections or even on the same slide at the same time, or pulling up meeting notes in a Word document during a virtual call, really allowing all attendees to edit at one time. But don't worry, you'll still be able to edit using desktop apps if you want to, if you need more advanced features like creating pivot tables or design tools in PowerPoint. So speaking of productivity, we enhance the user experience so that when you're uploading multiple documents, you can apply different properties to each one. This is helpful when you want to do a bulk upload, but the document shouldn't have the same metadata. You can easily click through each one and edit the properties before upload. Additionally, you don't have to wait for each document to fully upload before moving on to a new task. You'll simply see the upload status in that lower right-hand corner, which you can show more, show less, really kind of go on your merry way. If you need to send one or multiple documents via email, we now have a super easy way to send an attachment through Outlook from the Action menu. This allows you to take advantage of all the features you're familiar with in Outlook, like your address book, or even adding a signature to an email without having to download the content and then reattach it in a desktop email application like Microsoft Outlook. We also made some neat enhancements to our viewer. So here we're going to open a PDF and then switch over to thumbnail view, where you can manipulate multiple pages at one time, making you more efficient. Here we're going to select 2 pages and then rotate them that may have been uploaded or scanned in correctly, can easily be corrected and saved. Last, we're going to take a look at a cross-repository search. At the top, we see the details and the repositories. We offer federation so that content can be centrally managed without having to go through the lengthy, costly process of migrating content into one repository. In our latest release, we've added the advanced search functionality you've come to know and love for FileNet repository searches into cross-repository searches too. So after you execute this search, you can take action on several documents, no matter where they're stored. Here, we see how you can export properties of the documents that we selected into a CSV file. You can do this all while keeping your content where it is, whether that be in Box, Highland, OpenText, or another CMIS repository, and access and manage and work with it all from one central place while still being able to execute complex searches. With mapped properties, you can refine the search based on a variety of properties across repositories. And with the federation and cross-repository search features FileNet offers, you don't have to sacrifice functionality while managing content in place. So as you got a taste for here today, IBM's content services in the Cloud Pak for Business Automation provide access and the ability to collaborate on content from anywhere with the tools of your choice so that users can be more productive and in turn, your business can deliver superior customer experiences. Thank you. Back to you, Bob.
Hopefully you've seen that you made a good decision to invest in IBM's Cloud Pak for Business Automation. And there's really 3 main reasons. First is you have power. With the solution's full set of market-leading capabilities, you can manage more sophisticated processes, decisions, content, and RPA bots. And as you can see, we continue to add new capabilities. Number 2, you have flexibility. You pay for what you need, and you have the flexibility to reallocate licenses for other capabilities. So for example, if you want to take license that you're using currently today and use one of these new capabilities, you can very quickly reallocate those licenses. And then finally, you can put AI to work. Well, what does this really mean? Well, what this means is that we've embedded machine learning, digital decisioning, and intelligent data gathering and analysis throughout all of our products to reduce the amount of work that people need to do. And as you can also see, we continue to add more and more ready-to-use AI features. So you want to learn more? Here's some things that you can do. First of all, and this is pretty easy, you can subscribe to our newsletter and you can keep up to date with our new product enhancements, new use cases, and other information in the IBM Business Automation Insider. The other thing you can do is you can book a one-on-one demo to walk through the key features of IBM's Cloud Pak for Business Automation that interest you the most. Thanks so much.